like directly. We are supposed to use an interpretation system because of TV.
Can you give me one if it's possible?
Yes, of course. Yeah, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the post-match press conference of Thailand. So with us tonight, we have the pleasure to have the coach, Ningri Thai. So as you all know, we have an interpretation system working. Please make sure you have downloaded the app for your mobile phone or your computer. We will kindly ask you to first raise your hand if you have question. Wait until the mics to reach you, and then please first tell us in which language you're going to ask your question, and then identify yourself and your organization. If everyone's ready, and if we have any question from you, we can start the press conference. Do we have any questions? Please.
I have a question in English, please. Coach, what can you say to your players after that, and what are your emotions after the scoreline?
ก็สำหรับผลการแข่งขันวันนี้ก็ต้องยอมรับว่าเรา
We accept the score
ยัง
today.
ทำได้ไม่ดีพอนะคะแล้วก็ต้อง
We
ยอมรับด้วย
haven't
ว่า
done
คู่แข่งขัน
enough.
แข็
We
งแกร่งมากจ
accept
ริงๆนะคะแล้ว
that they're
เราก็
very
คิดว่าเราก็
strong
จะนำสิ่งที่ผิด
and
พ
they
ลาดเนี่ย
were
ไปแก้
excellent
ไข
all around. We
และทำให้
accept
ดีขึ้
our
นนะคะ
mistakes and
ส่วนใน
we're
เรื่อง
going
ของอารม
to
ณ์ของเด็กเนี่ย
improve.
ด้วยความที่
For
เราตั้ง
emotions
ใจมาก
for
นะคะ
my
รู้สึกว่า
players.
น้องๆก็ผิดหวัง
They
นะคะ
were
ที่
waiting for this
สก
moment
อร์
and
ที่ออ
they
กมา
were
วันนี้มัน
really
เกินความคาดหมาย
disappointed
ไม่ได้เหมือนดังที่ตั้ง
because
ใจเพ
the
ราะเราก็ตั้ง
score
ใจจะ
wasn't
ทำให้
what
มันดี
they
ที่สุด
had
อะ
been expected.
Do we have any other question, please, for the coach? Yeah. Here in the front, first row. Thank you.
English, Grant Wall, Sports Illustrated. The United States kept trying to score goals in this game and sent on more attackers as the game went on. Is this fair play to you?
ก็ในเกมการแข่งขันนะทุกอย่างมัน
in football game
ขึ้นอยู่กับกฎกติกาอยู่แล้วนะคะ
so
ผู้ต่อสู้เนี่ยก็
everybody is following
พ
the
ยายามทำทุก
rules
วิถี
so
ทาง
our
เพราะว่าก็เป็น
opponent
การ
is
ก็
trying
ถือว่า
their
เราต้องยอม
best
รับว่าอเมริกาวันนี้เล่น
we
เต็ม
have
ที่
to
นะคะ
accept
เรา
that
ก็ไม่มี
the US team is very good today we don't have any excuse we accept that they are better
Do we have any question, please? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. In English, can you use this game as a measuring stick, a benchmark to gauge where your team is and what you would like to improve going forward?
แน่นอนค่ะก็คือเราก็รู้ระดับความสามารถเรา
Of
อยู่แล้ว
course.
ว่าเราอยู่ใน
Yes,
ระ
we
ดับ
know
ไหน
where
นะคะ
we
ซึ่ง
are.
ก็การเล่นกับทีมชาติอเมริกาวันนี้มันก็ทำให้รู้ว่าเรายังต้องพัฒนาอีกทุ
Playing
ก
the
ๆด้านนะคะ
United
ไม่ว่าจะ
States
เป็น
is not easy
ใน
and
เรื่
we
องของ
know that we have to
วิธีการเล่น
improve in
นะคะ
every
ความเข้าใจใน
aspect
เกมเนี่ยเราก็
and
รวมทั้งประสบการณ์ของผู้
improve
เล่น
in
ในแต่ละ
our
คน
mentality and we know
มันก็
that all the
ไม่สามารถเทีย
players
บได้เลย
experience
ค่ะวันนี้
cannot be compared with them.
Do we have any other question? Please again.
Thank you. In English, please. I know that you said you didn't want to make any excuses. I wonder if you could perhaps illustrate for us what it's like to be in the Thai team. Perhaps the American team have such great facilities and resources and such an experienced side. Can you tell us what the facilities are like for your team in Thailand? What the financial support is like and what the picture is like for your team?
แน่นอนค่ะก็คือในเรื่องของการสนับสนุนเนี่ยก็คิดว่าทาง
of course
สมาคม
that
ฟุตบอลเนี่ยก็สนับสนุน
the
นักกีฬา
FA or the Football
ของ
Association of
ในส่วนของผู้เล่น
Thailand
ผู้หญิงให้พัฒนาขึ้นแน่นอนนะคะเราก็จะเห็นได้ว่า
support the female
ทรัพยา
team
กรเนี่ย
we
ในการคั
can
ดเลือก
see that
นักกีฬาที่เราจะมาเล่นเนี่ยก็ค่อนข้างมีความแตกต่าง
we
นะคะ
have
เรามี
limited resources in terms
จำนวน
of
ค่อนข้าง
the players
จำกัดรวมทั้ง
and
ใน
the
เรื่องของ
selection.
ลัก
We
ษณะ
have limited
ของ
number
รูปร่าง
of
เราก็ค่อนข้าง
players
ตัวเล็กอยู่แล้ว
available,
นะคะในส่วน
and
นี้ก็
we
คือ
are
เราจะต้องพัฒ
small
นาด้านอื่นๆ
in the
ให้ดี
build.
กว่าเดิมค่ะ
We have to improve on this aspect.
Do we have any other questions? So we'll go with two last questions, yours, and if anyone else want to ask
ภาษา
the
ไทย
question.
นะครับอาจารย์ครับหลังเกมเนี่ยนักบอลหลายคนร้องไห้อาจารย์ห่วง
Yeah,
เรื่อง
this
ขวัญ
question
กำลัง
is
ใจ
in
สอง
Thai.
นัดที่เหลือไหม
Lots of
จะแก้ไข
players
ยังไง
cried
ก็
after the match.
ณอารมณ์ตอน
How
นี้
would
นะคะ
you
ก็
improve it?
น้องๆค่อนข้างผิดหวังนะคะเพราะว่า
They were
เขา
disappointed,
ตั้
of
งใจจะ
course.
ทำให้เกมแรกในการ
They
แข่งขันฟุตบอลโลก
intended
ครั้ง
to
ที่สอง
make
ข
an
องเขาเนี่ย
impression
อยากทำให้ดีที่สุด
in this first
นะคะแล้วก็
match.
ทุกคน
They
มา
were
กับความ
trying
ตั้ง
their
ใจมาก
best.
วันนี้ก็ค่อนข้างผิดหวังส่วนใน
And
เรื่
they
อง
were
อารม
really
ณ์เนี่ยแน่นอน
disappointed.
โ
For the
ด้วยความเป็นนัก
emotions
กีฬาเนี่ย
side,
น้องๆสามารถ
Yes,
เข้า
they
สู่
are
เกม
all
ได้
athletes.
เร็วเพราะว่าเรายังมี
And
อีก2เกมที่เหลือ
they
อยู่
will be
นะคะ
resilient.
แล้วเราก็
We
จะ
got
ต้อง
two more games to
ทำให้
play.
น้องๆเนี่ยกลับมาอยู่ใน
And
ค
we
วามมุ่ง
need
มั่นเหมือนเดิม
to
ให้ได้นะคะแล้วก็
bounce
คิดว่า
back.
น้องๆรับรู้ในเรื่องของหน้า
We
ที่
need
ความ
to
รับ
be
ผิดชอบใน
prepared for the
หน้า
next
ที่ของการ
match.
เป็นนักกีฬาดี
And they have their
พวกเราคงจะใช้
responsibility and they know
เก
what
มนี้
they
เป็น
need
บทเรีย
to
นที่
do.
สำคัญในการที่
This is
เราจะ
our biggest lesson
ต้อง
to learn.
เตรียมตัวในการเล่นกับคู่ต่อสู้ในเกมต่อไปให้ได้ดีกว่าเดิม
And
ค่ะ
we need to learn from here how do we prepare for the next match.
So we're going to ask the last question.
Thank you, Daniel Mohren, Frankfurt Allgemeine Zeitung from Germany in English. The American players try to encourage your players after the game. Did you like that they tried in fair play to talk to your goalkeeper and so on?
ก็วันนี้ก็ต้องขอบคุณผู้เล่นทีมชาติอเมริกา
Thank you
อเมริกา
very
นะคะ
much
เพราะว่า
for
ห
the
ลังจาก
US
เกมการแข่งขัน
players.
เนี่ยเขาก็เป็นผู้ช
After
นะ
the
นะ
match,
คะเขาก็
they
เห็
are
น
the
รู้สึกว่านั
winner,
กกีฬาของเราเนี่ยรู้สึกผิดหวัง
and they
ทุก
saw
คนก็
that
มาให้
our
กำลังใจ
players
แล้ว
are
ก็
very
อยากให้
disappointed and let down.
พวก
So
เราเนี่ย
they
สู้ต่อไปค่ะ
wanted
ก็ต้องขอบ
to
คุณมาตรง
encourage
นี้
us
ด้วยนะคะ
to continue fighting. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, everyone. Coach, thank you.
11 of the USA team. We have with us today head coach Jill Hellis and player 13 Alex Morgan, who has also been selected player of the match, presented by Visa and selected by our FIFA.com fans. Before we start the press conference, as you know, we have interpretation services available for this press conference. The languages are English, French, and Thai. You should have downloaded the app in advance. If you have it, just select the language you require, and then we can proceed. Before you ask a question, please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. It's really important that you speak to the microphone so the interpreters can get the question and have a translator. Identify then yourselves and the organization you work for. We'll now give it a start. Who would like to go with the first question? Here in the front. Yes. So we will start first with some questions for Alex, so we can release her beforehand. So questions for Alex first, please. Here in the front. Is it for Alex? No? Let's move on. Questions for Alex? Here in the front. Microphone, please.
Alex, successful tournament 4 years ago, of course. Even if the goals weren't there, how are you feeling physically coming into this tournament compared to where you were 4 years ago? And did that impact your performance today?
Yeah, I'm feeling in peak form right now. And in the days, the preparation days before this, I think the team in general was just feeling great. Having our pre-camp at the Tottenham training facility really helped us continue to build more together and united. And for me personally, I feel great.
Next question, here in the middle.
English, John Halloran, American Soccer Now. Alex, yesterday you spoke about the growth of the game, and I'm wondering if a result like tonight tells you or says anything to you about bringing the bottom up while the top is also rising.
Yeah, I think it's, well, for us, with the scoreline tonight, we have to look at, the group stage as every goal counts, and it was important for us to continue to go. But I think for these 24 teams, it's a great opportunity for for women to showcase what they've worked their entire life towards. And not every federation gives the same financial effort to their women's side. And that's unfortunate, but I hope that this World Cup, it being really the largest audience of a World Cup thus far, especially in countries like England and in the host country here, it's great to see quality games and obviously quality teams. And my hope is eventually we cap it at 32 teams. Moving forward, but also that encourages FIFA to put a little pressure on those, respective federations to put more efforts into their women's side.
Question at the back here. No, the gentleman next to you. Thank you.
Hey, Alex. Martin Rogers, Fox Sports. You shared a few words at the end with Miranda Nile from Thailand, who also went to Cal. She was obviously in tears and a very tough night for her. What were you able to say to lift her spirits on a very difficult evening?
I told her that it's a dream of all of ours to play in a World Cup. And she has at least 3 games, and this is game 1. And she still has 2 games to showcase herself, to get some goals. She's a quality player, and to stay encouraged through this tournament, because she's living out a dream that most girls and women don't get to. So, I hope she took that and is able to kind of turn it around for the next game.
Here, please.
English, Grant Wall, Sports Illustrated, Fox Sports. This has come up in CONCACAF tournaments with you guys before, with some of these lopsided scores, and how do you respond as a player when you keep scoring goals. And I'd imagine that if you score a World Cup goal, that's a dream, and you want to celebrate that goal. But when it's the 10th or 11th or 12th goal, I think there's going to be some people out there that think you're over-celebrating. How, as a player, do you decide what to do in that situation if you score?
I mean, I think in the moment, every time we score a goal in a World Cup, it's, you dreamt of it I've dreamt of it since I was a little girl. Winning a World Cup and being back here for the 3rd time, we want that 4 stars. So tonight we knew that every goal could matter. In this group stage game, and when it comes to celebrations, I think this was a really good team performance tonight, and I think it was important for us to celebrate with each other.
Next question for Alex. No further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Good job.
Thanks. We'll now continue with head coach Jill. Question here in the front.
In English, Steve Goff, The Washington Post. Jill, is there a balance that you need to strike when a score is getting that high? I mean, obviously you want to stay in form, you want to get players in there, and at the same time, the score is reaching embarrassing levels. How do you balance all that, I guess?
I mean, I think, I would say to you, is this is a world championship. So every team that's here has been fantastic to get to this point. And I think that to be respectful to opponents is to play hard against opponents. And it is, as Alex sort of said, it's a tournament where goal differential is a criteria. And I think, if you, much like Alex said, if you think about this for these players, they've 4 years now, some of them have been working, some of them even, longer in terms of this is their first World Cup. Games are games, and you got to go out and play, and you got to compete, and a lot of this is about building momentum. And so as a coach, it's, I don't find it my job to go and harness my players and rein them in, because this is what they've dreamt about. This is it for them. This is a world championship. So I think, for tonight, part of it is I respect Thailand. I celebrate that they're here. I spoke to some of the players afterwards, and, just keep your heads up, because it is part of growth of the game. I think it's obviously for us, it's, the players are excited. And I think, I said afterwards on the TV, it's a lot of this, when you go into a World Cup, you can talk tactics, you can talk all this, but it is about mentality. it is also about confidence. And so getting off on the right foot is important. But the reality is, yeah, we also believe we've got more to do, no doubt. We're going to stay humble, and we go back to work. But in terms of the things and the takeaways that we want to get, I think it was a very good start.
Question there on the side. No, behind you.
Hey Jill, any great team in sports that has continued success must have a streak of ruthlessness about them. Do you feel that there are other teams in women's soccer that have a fear factor when it comes to you guys? And do you think and hope that was maybe increased a little bit tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I'll be honest, I sit here and I go, if this is 10-0 in a men's World Cup, are we getting the same questions, to be quite honest, I mean, I think a World Cup, it is about competing. It is about peaking. It is about priming your players ready for the next game. So, I mean, I think, again, you can tell with my substitutions tonight, you play players that get hot. And if you can get as many hot as you possibly can, feeling good, feeling the back of the net. That's so important for a forward and for a midfielder, and well, for anybody for that matter. But those feelings are what can, I think help you through the tournament in terms of the next game. So, yeah, I mean, I think we have to come out and we have to play as hard as we possibly can in every single game. This will be an incredibly hard World Cup. This is only game one. So, again, like I said, there's 2 more games in our group.
Question here. Third gentleman.
English, Jeff Kasufi, Glasgow Soccer. Jill, you just mentioned playing players that are hot. You shifted systems, I guess you'd say, formations throughout the game. You've done that in friendlies, but in a World Cup here, are you looking for something still out of those moments, or is that a matter of getting players on the field?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, I think it's looking at, in a game, you look at everything. You think about load, and in a game where your backs potentially don't have to, have a higher load, then you make substitutions in your attacking side. We've played double nines a lot in terms of the game, and that's what we shifted in and out of. And when you've got that many forwards on the park, and I mean, it's a system that we know that we go to when we need to. So, I mean, I think it was just in terms of trying to get players on and make sure we get rotation and get our forwards feeling the back of the net.
Question there still?
In that vein, we talked to some players and they said, the score is 8 or 9-0. At that point, what are the coaches telling you? And they were working on their own executables. What are some of the things you saw tonight that you thought were executed well, and some of the things that, maybe you're going to go back to the team and say, all right, we have work to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's probably going to go look at some film, to kind of take that away. I mean, I think, some of the strikes tonight, part of it is you look at a goal and you say, is that a quality goal? And I thought some of Alex's finishes tonight were world class that would, and that's a good feeling. You want your forward to feel that. In terms of takeaways and things to work on, I mean, I think it's going to be sitting looking at some film and having, there's always things that you can refine and polish. And but I think, I'm not sure exactly what our next opponent will do, but I think, teams sit low. It invites us on top of them a lot. And I think that, again, working at breaking teams down that sit in the lower blocks, I think it's important for us to continue to grow in that regard.
Question there in the middle.
Questions in English. Julian Cardillo from Pro Soccer USA. Jill, tonight a lot of players scored, but there are a few that scored that have never been to a World Cup and obviously did it for the first time. So can you talk about what it means to get the goal at the World Cup and get it early for someone like Rose Lavelle or Sam Ewis and Mallory Pugh?
I mean, it's huge. After the game, Mal had tears in her eyes, and so as a coach, you kind of sometimes when you get caught up in it, you forget these moments are massive moments for these players. I think when Mal was about to go in, I said, and even in warm-up, I said to Sammy, I'm like, first World Cup game. And you're right, at times you're in the motion and you're in the mood that you just kind of overlook that. But you have to take notice of that. And so for them, I think it's fantastic. There's always going to be, believe it or not, there's always going to be anxiety. First game of a World Cup, I mean, a lot of teams, it's a big moment, and it is a big moment for young players. And so I think that, feeling the confidence to, again, for Rose to take on and experiment, and for Sammy, and Mal, that's what you really want is their confidence to be, be peaking. And I think that was a good start for them in terms of that.
Question here.
In English, Seth Bertelny with Goal.com. When you looked out at the crowd tonight, it must have felt somewhat like a home game. How important is having that huge contingent of traveling fans going to be for you going forward in this tournament? How important could a home field advantage be with the notable exception of any potential game against France?
Yeah, I mean, I literally said this in the warm-up when I was looking around. I mean, it's massive. The more we can get in the crowd, the better. I mean, I think the crowd was amazing tonight. Good turnout. I think overall the American fans have traveled well here, from what I understand in terms of numbers. So I think it's massive. I mean, players want to play in front of their parents and families and friends, but to play in front of a crowd that can get behind you, it is a part of the game. And I think it's really important. So I'm excited to see the U.S. fans turn out for us. It's great.
You're in the front.
English, Doug McIntyre from Yahoo Sports. Jill, you mentioned Alex just before. She's not going to score 5 in every game, but how important is it for
How do you know that?
For your
I'm just saying. You gotta be optimistic, man. That's part of coaching. You gotta.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But how important is it for her to get off to a start like that as your center forward going into the rest of the
I mean, it's huge. I think it was massive. To get Carly a goal tonight, I think it's huge. She's a player as well that that you want to get hot, and so again that feeling. But I think for Alex tonight, it was, I thought she was tight and tidy in the box, and I think she pulled the trigger well, and I think some world-class finishes. So you can see the feeling. That's the big part of it. You want to have that feeling. It's a self-belief, it's a confidence, it's an energy, call it whatever you want, but, goal scorers have to feel that. And we all know, the word drought, but, when you have a deluge of goals like that, it's a really, it's important. It's a good feeling. It boosts their confidence.
No question there at the back.
English, Caitlin Murray, The Guardian. In the mix zone, Rose Lavelle said she thought that it was an okay game. She had some things she wanted to clean up. I'm just curious what you think of her performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Rose is. That's why I love Rose. I think early on, I'm probably referring to a couple of times she got caught on the ball, but then I think she played faster and took her moments well. And as a coach of a younger player that's in her first World Cup, I mean, really, it's about making sure Rose is doing her thing. That's as best as I can describe it, because she is unique. She's obviously a very skillful player, and you don't ever want to limit that. So I think I would tell her to kind of move on. We always talk about kind of putting the black box and move on, and I think that's. Yeah, I think she is someone who demands a lot of herself. It's probably why she's as good as she is. But, I thought tonight she obviously got a couple of goals, and it's a good feeling for her in her first game in the World Cup.
Let's take 3 more questions at the back first.
Thank you. Ms. Ellis, to Daniel Meuren from Frankfurt Allgemeine Zeitung from Germany. Sorry, Ms. Ellis, you took over the world record from Germany tonight, beating the highest score in World Cup history. It was before 11-0 from Germany. And the second question, in Europe, we always hear from the fight of your players for their rights of equality and so on. What is your position for coaches? Is it also necessary to fight for the rights of coaches, women coaches in the world?
Oh, 100%. I think, yeah, no question. I think when I took this job, whatever it was 5 years ago, you kind of take the job and you go into it, and then you realize, with a lot of people sort of say, hey, that's where I want to be, that part of being in this job is part of being a role model, because, I have a daughter, and if you can see something and it's happening, then I think people can dream about it. So I hope there are a ton of little girls that not just want to be on the pitch, but also, if they have a coaching vein in their body, want to embrace that. But I think there's quite a few female coaches in this championship. I think more and more deserve more opportunities, and I think I would I echo that in our country and probably around the world. I know FIFA's been an advocate for that. I think in terms of the I think the youth tournaments, they actually require to have a female assistant coach or head coach. And I think there should be provisions like that made, because I think, otherwise it does get dominated by the males. And I think we're just as valuable and just as effective.
Next question here in the front.
English, Kevin Baxter, LA Times. Jill, I'm trying to think of a way to ask this question that doesn't sound really stupid, and I couldn't come up with one.
Go
But
for
what I
it.
wanted to know, about 37, 38 shots, 13 goals. Aside from confidence, what do your players and you take out of this game? What did you learn?
I'm just kidding. I was just laughing to laugh. What do we take? I mean, it's how you want to start a tournament. You want to have that feeling, and I think I think I was asked out there on the broadcast, like, what is the biggest takeaway? And it's having players feeling good about their game. There's always going to be, little things like what Rose commented. There's always going to be little things that players are going to want to refine. But I think just, it is about building momentum. It is about, getting that first game under your belt, that feeling. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway for us. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things to as we move forward to look at. But, look at the player that was sitting next to me. I mean, you want those players to have those feelings, because then they go into games and it's feeling the mentality, it's feeling invincible. That's the feeling you want. And, I'm not saying a big result like this is the be all end all, but it kind of lights a little bit of a fire in terms of their confidence for sure.
Last question at the back.
Thank you. In English, please. Jill, is there any risk of complacency now after such a resounding win? How can you keep your players' feet on the ground with tougher matches to come, especially the Sweden game?
Because they're on a mission. This is one step in that. This is, they understand that the mission matters most. It's that kind of saying. And so this is just one step in that. So I think it's easy. They know we've got enough experience in that team to know that this is a twist and turn, up and down roller coaster ride. So it's making sure that, I think they enjoy this for tonight, but they 100% know that, we got to continue to grow in this tournament and, continue to get better.
Thank you very much, everyone. We now conclude the press conference.